think we are live now. So hello everyone, and thank you for joining me. A lot of people have been getting in. We are live now. Oh, that's a bit weird. I've got some feedback going on. Hang on. So hello everyone, and thank you for joining me. People have been getting live now. Oh, some feedback going on. Hang on. So okay, I think I sorted out the feedback. Apologies for that horrible, strange noise. I'm trying to go live on multiple platforms, and it's the first time I'm trying to do that, so it was all a bit funny and feedbacky. So I wanted to talk about foods and plants and how they can help with mental health and anxiety, because I'm having lots of different people messaging me at the moment on this very subject, and it's a massive subject, and I'm only just going to touch on it today. But I thought it was really important to share something, since this is what is coming up for a lot of people at the moment. We've been put into an unnatural situation for a lot of us at this moment, which is exacerbating things for people. But in general, people are struggling with mental health and well-being and anxiety, largely because of the lifestyles that we lead, the foods that we eat. So we're just going to have a little look at that right now. What foods can we eat to help support mental health and anxiety? What foods can we drop from our diet that are feeding into bad mental health and anxiety? And what super herbs and things can we add in as well? So this is a little bit off the cuff. I haven't planned anything. It was just because I've been getting a few messages this morning on this very subject. I've just finished doing my foraging workshop online, which was brilliant and so enlightening and buzzing. We all had a great time. So really, when we're looking at mental health and anxiety, one of the first places to look is, well, what am I putting into my body that could be exacerbating this situation? And caffeine is a stimulant which can lead to anxiety. So one of the first things that I would recommend is cutting caffeine out of your diet. Now, obviously, if you're on high amounts of caffeine, you need to reduce this gradually, because it's something that otherwise you'll have to detoxify from, which isn't the most pleasant of experiences. So reducing this gradually is an important thing. So when you start to reduce the caffeine, what you need to do is to work to support the adrenals. The adrenals are two little glands that sit on top of your kidneys, and they're the things that help our body to deal with stress. So we have to support those whilst we detoxify from the caffeine. We're going to talk first about what we're getting rid of. So caffeine, refined sugar, plays havoc with mental health and our well-being in general, and our energy levels. So looking at reducing and ultimately eliminating refined sugars, refined foods in general, these act as anti-nutrients in our body. So what that means is they are actually stealing nutrients from our body. So we want to look at cutting out these refined foods. There have been studies linking gluten to problems with anxiety and mental health. So looking at reducing and ultimately eliminating for a period of time refined foods, gluten, and caffeine is all very helpful for mental health and well-being. And then it's like, well, what are we going to add into our diet? Because that's a really good thing to look at. Well, what can we add in to help us to feel better? And first of all, a large amount of mental health starts in the gut. So looking at your gut health is of fundamental importance. Now, this is a massive subject. I've done a 4-week online course on how to heal your gut. So this would be a good place to look at. Or ultimately start by having foods like sauerkraut, raw and unpasteurized sauerkraut, or a good probiotic, so that you start to work on your good bacteria. At the same time as working on the good bacteria, you need to reduce the bad bacteria that is creating an imbalance in your system. So things like raw garlic, or you can get aged garlic extract, basil, fresh basil. These are amazing things to help to balance out the bad bacteria in the gut. So you're getting rid of the bad bacteria and you're putting in the good bacteria at the same time. So this is really important for mental health, anxiety, and our physical well-being to do. The other things that you can do to add into your diet is look at the nutrients you're getting. So, what nutrients are key to good mental health? Well, B vitamins are really important for good mental health. B12, especially, is a really fundamental thing for good mental health. So, making sure that you are taking a good B12 supplement would be something I would recommend as well. Also, making sure your vitamin D levels are adequate. A lot of mental health and anxiety can be linked to low vitamin D. So taking a D3 with K2 supplement is what I would recommend as well. So you've got B vitamins, you've got vitamin D as well. Making sure you've got a cross section of nutrients going into your body, because a lot of us are walking around nutritionally deficient because we're not getting the food into our body to really support mental health. Now, we're going to have poor mental health if we're not giving our body the right fuel. So putting the right fuel in is so important. So how can you do this? Well, eating a cross section of nutrients. So what does that mean? Well, eating lots of different colored vegetables. So, getting more fruits and veg into your diet, really, really important. If you want to take it to the next level, obviously, if you're struggling with anxiety and depression and low energy and things like this, it's very hard to have the energy to go out and forage things or to learn new things like that, or to maybe make lots of foods, but start having salads, or maybe have a smoothie. Smoothies are a really great thing to have because it's quick and easy to do. You just chuck things in a blender, whiz it up, and you drink it, and you're getting a whole host of nutrients in there. So for me, in a smoothie, making sure that I've got a good protein powder going in there. There are two that I really love and recommend that are on my website. But also then putting super greens in. This is what I would do. So I've got a great super green mix, and it's filled with micronutrients. So putting a teaspoon of super greens in, putting some vitamin C powder in, hemp seeds, essential fats are so important for your brain health. This is a really good thing to be having, essential fats. So hemp seeds, something like that. Again, there's a really lovely product, which is an omega-3 oil, which is a vegan one, which I sell. It's not on my website yet, but if you're interested, just message me. And that's a really good thing to do. You can just take that like that, and you're getting the essential fats to support mental health. I personally love cacao, and I've seen cacao being so beneficial for mental health issues. Cacao has something called anandamide in it, which is a bliss chemical, so it makes you feel good. It uplifts your being. It also gently energizes. It's got no caffeine in it, but it's got something called theobromine, which is a sister component. So it's gently uplifting and energizing your body. For me, there's nothing better than some fresh nettles to go in a smoothie. Or if you can't get fresh nettles, spinach or kale, putting those fresh greens in. And with the cacao, you don't notice the fresh greens in there. So it's a really nice thing because you're getting those fresh live greens going into your body. So making sure you're getting those nutrients into your body is so key. If all of that is too much, you can get my super green mix, put a teaspoon into water, shake it up, and just knock it back. And that's a really simple way to start getting nutrients back into your system. And for me, getting nutrients from food-based things is much more preferable to getting a synthetic supplement. For food-based is the ideal way because your body knows what to do with it. So you can get whole foods ground up like I've got in my super mixes, which are really supportive of health and well-being. Then the other things when it comes to mental health and anxiety are the medicinal mushrooms. I mean, people who know me, I've talked about the medicinal mushrooms so many times, but reishi, turkey tails, lion's mane, cordyceps, all of these mushrooms are really supportive of, they're adaptogens. So what that means is they help your body to deal with stress. They help you to adapt to change. And this is so key, helping us to adapt to change. So the medicinal mushrooms are so important. And each one has a slightly different function, but they are all adaptogens. So they all work in this, helping us to deal with change, which is really, really key for our health and our well-being. Then what we've got to look at is things like CBD. The research on CBD or cannabis is, it's just starting out, but they're finding more and more evidence of the ability of CBD to help with anxiety and depression and other neurological disorders. my CBD hot chocolate or my CBD turmeric drink have had such brilliant reviews. I've had people with really severe anxiety having going on the CBD hot chocolate and having it twice a day and having amazing results, because it's not just CBD in it. It's got other cannabinoids in it because it's got whole plant hemp, so you've got all the different cannabinoids, very, very low, totally legal amounts of THC, 0.02%, so totally fine on that front. It's also got something called mucuna in, and mucuna is very good to help increase the dopamine levels in the brain. So really important if you're having anxiety or mental health issues, mucuna is an amazing thing to have. And I've combined it with the CBD because it works so well in synergy together. Also, when we're looking at mental health, as I said, those medicinal mushrooms. So there are lots of other things that you can start to add in for mental health. Rhodiola is another amazing thing to add in for our mental health. Lemon balm calms and soothes the being. Valerian, again, is another calmer. But often when we're in a state of anxiety, we need things to support our adrenals, and we need things to support our nervous system. So we need our nervous system to just be calmed and kind of stroked down with a feather, given that beautiful kind of hug. Things like the chamomile and the valerian do that. They're nervine tonics, so they're soothing for the being. One of the things that I found is so profound, or can have such a profound result and effect on mental health, is water. And I know that sounds ridiculous. It's like, water? How can water help with mental health? Well, quite often a large amount of the problem with anxiety and mental health things is we are so chronically dehydrated that our body is struggling to function. So it's like, if your body is struggling to function, if you're low in energy, if you're struggling in these basic areas, you have to go back and look at the basics. Am I giving my body the fuel it needs to move forward? Because if I'm not, my body is going to start to struggle. And that will be displayed in many different ways, through anger, through depression, through anxiety, through frustration, through exhaustion. Now, obviously, I'm simplifying things, but it's important to simplify and look at the basics and go, okay, well, if I address all these basic things and the issue is still there, then it's not that. But generally, when you address the basics, most issues go away. So the basics: plenty of good, clean water. Get a filtration system. Don't drink tap water because that affects your gut bacteria, which has a direct correlation to mental health. So make sure you're drinking enough water. As I said, clean water. One of my tricks, and I've talked about this a lot before, is in the morning when I wake up after I've cleaned my mouth, I have a large glass of water. I put a pinch of Celtic sea salt in, or raw grey sea salt, which works to energize the body. I put a little bit of lemon, and I also put in 2 drops of Lugol's iodine, because I find this really helpful and beneficial to my being. I then drink that big glass of water to start the day, because what that does is it wakes you up. It wakes your being up. It helps with your detoxification process, because also another part of anxiety and mental health is our bodies are filled with toxins, and we can't cope because of the amount of toxins that are in our system. So you have your water with your salt and your lemon in, you're clearing out your system, you're aiding in this detoxification process, you're helping your cells to work properly. Really important for mental health. And then, as I said, we have to look at, are we covering our bases for mental health? Are we getting enough nutrients in our body? Are we supporting a healthy gut? And as I said before, you know, what you can do is you can take things like my super green mix to get those nutrients into your body. Make sure you're on B12, make sure you're taking vitamin D. D3 with K2 ideally is optimum, and good amounts of that, because you want to make sure you're optimizing your body. When our body is not optimized for its nutrients, it will struggle. And those signs to present differently for everyone. Adding in things like the medicinal mushrooms, which are adaptogenic herbs to support your health and well-being, to help you release stress in your body. The other day, I was really out of sorts. I felt angry, stressed out. I was like this, just couldn't. Everything was winding me up. Everything was pissing me off. And I was just not in a good place. And so my husband took the kids out for a bit, and I sat and I breathed and I meditated. And I did a breath that's a really good breath to do. It's a 3-4-5 breath. You breathe in for 3 seconds. You hold for 4 seconds. And then you breathe out for 5 seconds. And you do that a few times, and what that does is it switches you out of fight or flight into a calm, relaxed state. Our breath is such a powerful, powerful tool. So I sat down, I breathed, I had a nice glass of water. I topped up my B12 because I thought maybe my B12 was a little bit low. And then I had some of my CBD hot chocolate, which really helped. And it's got the medicinal mushrooms in. I added an extra bit of medicinal mushrooms to it. And I sat in the sun and I just stilled my being. And I came back into balance because my body obviously was out of whack with something. Whether it was I needed more mushrooms, whether it was I needed more water because I was dehydrated, whether it was I needed a bit more B12, whether it was I just needed time to sit and breathe, or all of the above. But I did that. I took that time of self-care and self-love to nurture my being before I went too far. Because it's very easy for us to just get caught in this vicious cycle and then we don't know how to break it. So those are a few of the things that I did the other day. But as I was saying, an important part is not just adding these things in, but taking out the foods, taking out the things that are going to exacerbate the situation. So taking out the refined foods, getting rid of those refined sugars or reducing them if you can't get rid of them straight away, reducing or cutting out the caffeine, because this is really not good for stress and anxiety and mental health issues. Cutting out refined foods, as I said, looking into if you're maybe intolerant to gluten, because gluten intolerances can cause a lot of imbalance in the body. So removing these things from the body, trying to have more organic food. I know I've given you lots of different things, but everyone's at a different level of their development. So what resonates for you might not resonate for someone else. So take the bit out of it that resonates with you and go, I'll do that one thing. Because that's the other thing that happens. We hear too much information and we go into this, I don't know what to do, so I won't do anything. But actually just do one thing. Go, okay, from that talk, from what that person said, I'm going to take one thing and I'm going to do one thing. I'm going to activate that one thing in my life as my first step. So I'm going to start drinking more water and I'm going to get filtered water and I'm going to add some salt and lemon to it. Some, not table salt, but some good salt. If you don't have the good salt, don't worry about it. Just add the lemon. Get to that later. But start adding these things in so it's a stepping stone to helping you to feel better. One of the best ways to energize your body is with salt, water, and lemon in the morning. Much better than caffeine. Will really give you a lift. It will also help you go to the toilet, which is really important. As I mentioned, getting those toxins out of your system is key. Someone's just said, which medicinal mushrooms do I use? So I use lots of different ones, but in my CBD hot chocolate drink, I have reishi and chaga in there. I've got some turkey tails that I make into tea quite often. Reishi is my favorite mushroom, to be honest, that I use an awful lot of. Chaga is incredible too. But turkey tails you can go out and find everywhere, and it's a beautiful thing to make a tea with. The bracket fungus are such an incredible realm of plants to tap into and start working with. And yeah, that's right. Someone said natural foods cause so much less stress in the body, so much more energy to repair so we can relax. Exactly. The more toxic waste we put into our body, the less ability we have to function properly. Toxins take time and energy. We have to get rid of this toxic load in our body. Another thing that's really important to be aware of is if you're feeling very angry and over emotional and like ragey. I don't know if you ever get ragey. It probably means your toxic load is too high because the liver is struggling to get rid of these things, because the liver is the organ that deals with anger. So it's really important that you help to support your liver. And at the moment, there are loads of amazing foods out that support the liver. Nettles, dandelions, cleavers, so much stuff out there. It's really important to start working with those things. Someone's just said, thank you for acknowledging that we're at a different stage. I'm so eager to learn, but sometimes it's overwhelming. It totally can be overwhelming sometimes. I really get that. And I've got a lot of knowledge because I've been doing this for years and this is my life. So I'm saying all this stuff really easily to you, but you may be going, whoa, and that's okay. It seriously is totally okay. Listen from a space of openness so that you can hear the bit that resonates with you in this moment. And I think that's one of the key things. And for me, what I always tell people is, what is the one thing you're going to do? Just do one thing. In anything in life, just do one thing at a time. Just simplify and go, what's the one thing I need to do? And this is something I do a lot in my own practice, and that I teach people a lot, is I tune in to my body every day and I say, what is the one thing I need to do today? And it can be for whatever reason, for my business, or it could be for my personal well-being, or for my family. What is the one thing I need to do so that I can start moving my life forward? And then it's not like, oh my God, I've got 1,000 things to do. And then you just get in a stress state. What's the point of getting in a stress state? Because then you achieve nothing. Once you've done one thing, you're like, yes, success. What can I do next? And there's that buzz and that movement. And that is such an exciting thing, isn't it? Getting that movement, because when you're in a space of bad mental health, when you're in a state of anxiety, a state of depression, a state of stress, it's very hard to get excited to propel yourself. So if you achieve one thing, then that's brilliant, because you're breaking a cycle of negativity and you're achieving something, instead of this cycle that you're in constantly of negativity. So it's so important that we find ways to break these cycles so that we can thrive, because that's our birthright. That's how we're meant to be. We're meant to be beautiful beings who thrive. And that's what I try to help people with and teach people, is ways that we can thrive. There are so many different ways we can thrive. You know, for me, for my mental health, for stress and anxiety, one of the best things for me is getting out in nature and going for a walk, taking my shoes off, getting my feet on the ground, grounding my energy, breathing into the earth. And for me, foraging is like the thing that brings me so much joy. And that's a great thing. Enjoy your red tent. Someone who's watching is about to go and run a red tent, so enjoy that. But breathing into nature, breathing into the earth, and looking at what is growing all around you. So often, this is such an exciting thing. The medicine that we need is right on our doorstep. So the plants that you need to support your health are probably right there in front of you, like right growing in your grass. Dandelions, great for detoxifying the liver and the kidneys. Really good to help support health and well-being. How do you use dandelions? Well, you pick the leaves and you wash them and you eat them in salad. You put them in stews or soups. You stick them in your smoothie. Dandelion flowers before they go to seed, that beautiful bright yellow, vibrant, uplifting for your being. Again, really good for mental health and well-being. So start using that. Really simple thing to start incorporating into your life. So as I said, there's lots of different ways that we can approach this, and it is a massive subject. So I'm going to quickly recap. Make sure you cover your bases first. You look at what you've got going into your body. Good clean water with lemon, ideally, so that you can alkalize your body and you can hydrate your body so that your brain can work better. If you've got Royal Grey sea salt, add that in so you can electrify and energize your body naturally. Make sure you've got good nutrients going into your body so that you've got this cross section of goodness. So you're eating lots of leafy greens. So you're eating your vegetables and your fruit, because they're all going to help to fill you with those nutrients. Where possible, have organic, but don't stress about it. But where possible, have organic, because the more natural it is, the more less toxins you've got going in the body, the better it is for your liver, because you've not got so much work for it to detoxify. Looking at adding in the amazing foods that could support mental health and well-being, like cacao, like CBD, like the medicinal mushrooms, like mucuna, rhodiola. These are a few suggestions. Adding in essential fats like hemp seeds and avocados and good nuts, or getting a supplement for it, because that feeds good brain health. Adding in, make sure you've got enough B vitamins going in, because B vitamins are really important for mental health as well. Magnesium is another one, so key for good mental health and depression and anxiety. So cacao is the most bioavailable source of magnesium. So start having the cacao or get a magnesium supplement. I really like the magnesium calm powder. That's really, really nice. I'll put up a link. There's rnrme.com is a website, and if you type in JK2020, you get a discount on there, and they've got the magnesium calm on there, so you could go on there. They've also got a great product called Liver Trex, which is really amazing tincture to support liver health. So that's a really good one. So look at making sure you've got those things, making sure you've got enough vitamin D in your system. D3 with K2 is optimum for the absorption. And then looking at, well, what foods am I've got the bases covered. Now, what am I putting into my body that's maybe being really toxic to my system? Like caffeine, like too much refined sugar, like maybe gluten, non-organic gluten. Look up glyphosate and what glyphosate can do to our mood and our anxiety and things like that. And trying to get back to a more natural diet with whole foods to really feed your body as much as you can. Breathing, being good to yourself and not beating yourself up. You know, this is the most important thing, that we don't beat ourselves up all the time. We are all on a journey and we're all at different stages of that journey, and wherever we are is great. We can always take steps forward. So when you listen back, look at what steps you can take forward out of what I've said. And I'm going to be doing more about this because I think this is such a key subject for us all, especially at this point in time. There's a lot of problems going on with mental health. You know, and as I said, for me, getting out in nature, grounding, breathing are all keys that really help and support me. I've been having to work on a lot of these things with my middle son, who's struggled a lot with not seeing friends and the closures of school and the rest with his mental health and with anxiety levels. So I've been working on these things with him. You know, I suffered from depression when I was young a lot. So it's something I've worked on throughout my life. And I'm very conscious of the effects that depression can have on families and people's health and well-being. And it's something that we need to address more. That was it. That was what I talked about earlier as well, the gut. Make sure that you look at your gut. You're putting those good things into your gut, because the gut is so important to our mental health. It's our second brain. So what you feed into your gut affects the brain. So I hope you have enjoyed this short video on how we can support our mental health and reducing anxiety. If you want to know more about anything, do send me a message. If you want to, I'll put up links in the comments for my CBD hot chocolate and the B12 and vitamin D and other things like that. But do send me a message, and lovely seeing you all. And I will see you all soon. Oh, one little thing. Next weekend, I'm doing a divine desserts workshop. So if you want to learn how to make healthy treats via this lovely online platform, do check out my website, which is www.juliettebryant.com. And the weekend after, I'm going to be doing a healing day. So you learn something called Sekem, which is an ancient Egyptian type of healing. We'll be doing level 1. So that's going to be some great self-healing techniques for mental health and general health and well-being. So lots of love to you all, and I will see you soon.